All right, this is my video submission for the screencast for the project for the second project in the Azure Nanodegree, in the Azure ML Nanodegree. So the requirements of this project are to demonstrate the working deployed endpoint, demonstrate the pipeline, the deployed pipeline, the available AutoML model, that's basically being used to generate the final endpoint, and a successful API request to the endpoint, basically how the web service interface would interact with the model. And having confirmed that my audio is working, I will be going through each of these resources. So again, what was the purpose of this exercise? It was to create, publish, consume, and publish, and consume a model that uses AutoML to find use AutoML to predict successfully whether South American consumers would or would not purchase a particular banking product. What you see on your screen right here is the deployed final product, and you can see it's healthy model with enabled authentication. This deployed model is as you can see, has this application insights. I've been, using this more recently, and it is using a pipeline that feeds in the bank marketing dataset and is processed through the AutoML module. And this is the work that's done behind the scenes to generate a final prediction that is then seen by the end user through the deployed endpoint. Here's the AutoML model that's actually used in this process, and that AutoML model basically uses a voting ensemble, which is deemed the best model. And as you can see, it saw, for example, whether or not they were employed, these type of metrics, rate, duration, so on and so forth, as being the key predictors of whether or not they are likely to take that product. That model and those insights that you saw are factored in what in the deployed metric, or what are in this final deployed endpoint. And what happens here is that this final deployed endpoint is published to an HTTP server, and it is receiving requests through using the Swagger JSON. The Swagger JSON has inputs that incorporate the kind of input the model needs, the kind of input features the model needs, and predicts from this yes or no whether or not the consumer is likely to buy the product. It takes in these kind of inputs, whether or not they have a job, whether or not they have an education, a housing, whether or not they have loans, so on and so forth. Let me zoom in a little bit to make it easier on folks. Whether or not they have an education, whether or not they have a loan, the ages, the job, so on and so forth, and spits out whether or not they are likely to or not to get the loan. And this demonstrates what we've done here, and what we have here is a deployed endpoint that, again, anyone can use. The idea being that anyone not even using Azure can use to run through a pipeline that has been deployed that uses an available AutoML model and uses the Swagger JSON to communicate and to get a response of whether or not to use a model and correctly classify whether or not a consumer is likely to purchase a product. And that concludes this screencast for my submission for the project. Thank you for your time and help.